Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, to hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step. I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bets. Cause we know who we at, we know we top tier. Cause all the hate that you bring, we know it stops here. I'm taking off like a rocket here and stopping here. It's strange how they cannot see the future, but see profit here. Wait up, we gon' always win. Tell 'em I can't take no loss. My team hold no L's, no. Aiming for the top, can't make it by myself.
It's Friday, kids. It's Friday. And this is the part where I kind of hip you to what's going on around here a little bit. Before we get into all the stuff we have to talk about, and we have a ton of stuff to talk about. I particularly enjoy what we're starting the show with. But before we get to that, this is the last time you're going to see us here in this iteration of the studio. We have to move. We are moving to another location. You'll see a little bit of a different background. Now, do not be alarmed. If you are one of those fans of the show who come and you spend an hour with me every day now, do not get worried. What is happening now is only happening because you made it happen. Your support, my mods, getting people to come over. We've monetized on YouTube now. So that's both Libsyn, which is Spotify, Apple, and our streaming services, and now YouTube, we've monetized. Okay, so we couldn't have done any of this without your support, your donations, your views, you being with me from the start and remaining with me to this point. So for that part, I thank you a lot. And B, this move will ensure that I will be with you for the foreseeable future. We are doing this for the longevity of the show. This move we are making will ensure I will be able to continue being here with you for an hour or more, depending on how things evolve. And they are evolving quickly, but this move ensures that I will be here. So the sword of Damocles with this move has been removed from above my head, Scotty's head. And we're going to be able to do what we love and bring you breaking stuff and bring you a ton of stuff that you haven't seen, maybe a perspective that you might agree with a little bit. Hopefully we have you thinking a little bit. Obviously you see some value in this, and so we're going to continue. And this move will facilitate us continuing for the foreseeable future. We're going to be able to keep doing this. So we will be off Monday. We will be off Monday to finalize this move. You'll see a little bit of a different background. And just from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Because without all of you, none of this would be happening. We would be packing it up. We would be going home. We would be going about our lives without you, without this time we've spent together. Because of you, it continues directly because of you and your support and the support of people in my life, in my family, my friends, support of Scotty. So thank you. And I will be seeing you for a while. For the foreseeable future, we'll be doing this, but not Monday. Okay. Now, last week, I mentioned it. I said, you may want to check the season premiere of South Park. I mentioned it. You remember? I hope a bunch of you went and did. I didn't really get any feedback from a lot of you on it, but considering its ratings and its streams, I'm guessing a ton of you did see it because it is number one across the board. It is the most streamed show. This episode, this week, they went just as hard. They are pulling zero punches. There was a few years ago, I was watching South Park, and I would have bet money they were trying to get canceled. I would have bet money they were trying to free themselves from this massive responsibility of being the leading satirists in our country, having their finger on the pulse like nobody else and being able to bring it to you in a hilarious manner consistently. I thought they might have wanted to be out from under it, to be honest with you, especially with that penis out episode where all the boys in the school were making a stand for masculinity against feminism by pulling their penises out all over school and events. And I saw that episode. I said, oh, they're trying to get canceled. They're trying to get pulled. Now they've transcended that. Now I think they're trying to get arrested or deported. Or so, you would swear they're trying to personally piss off Donald to the point where he acts upon it. You'd swear. I mean, I encourage you to check out this episode. And now it's got Trump's attention. It's got other people in the administration's attention. They can't ignore it. Too many people are watching it. Too many people find it hilarious.
Breaking news, the new head of Paramount telling CNN he is standing by South Park after another utterly scathing episode about the Trump administration. The latest episode hitting a nerve, prompting Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to publicly respond to South Park's unflattering portrayal of her. Here she is with Glenn Beck.
Yeah, it never ends, but it's so lazy to just constantly make fun of women for how they look. Only the liberals and the extremists do that. If they wanted to criticize my job, go ahead and do that, but clearly they can't. They just pick something petty like that.
South Park, which has not let up on its brutal criticism of Trump week after week, is the #1 streamed show in the United States right now. The #1 streamed show. So people are watching this. And that is something the White House, which tried to dismiss the show as irrelevant and saying no one watched it, which of course is factually inaccurate, they don't want to hear it.
So Gomez telling CNN that media moguls are betraying the public's trust. You know, Paramount recently canceled big-name Trump critic Stephen Colbert's show. So what about South Park? Well, today I asked the company's new CEO, David Ellison, if South Park's scathing Trump criticism is a problem for the company. Ellison indicated, no, it's not. He praised the show's creators. He told me he's been a fan of the show for decades. And he said, quote, they are equal opportunity offenders and always have been.
Okay. All right. There's a lot to unpack here. But I'm not just mentioning this because I think it's hilarious and I wanted to talk about South Park. I honestly believe this has a more overarching societal effect in terms of actual pushback, real, tangible, substantive pushback against this administration. Do not diminish the power that something as consistently funny and accurate and just so sharp in its satirical witticisms and criticisms, do not undervalue the effect they have on society. Don't do it. This is a tangible thing. First of all, and the only reason, by the way, the only reason they can get away with this is because they've been so consistently hilarious. Comedy is a real weapon. If you make it funny, you can lampoon anything and anybody. It's just got to be funny. If it's not funny, you're done. But if it's this level funny, you can say what you want. It's still America. For now, it's still America. But Kristi, panties all bunched up, but all hurt, huh? Because this second episode was all about you, and it was freaking hilarious. It was hilarious. And they did go after her. And now she's going to show up on CNN and say, oh, well, leave it to the liberals and the Democrats to demean women and judge them on their appearance. That's petty. That was on Glenn Beck. Talk about a blast from the past. Glenn Beck. Yeah, leave it to the liberals and the Democrats to demean women on their physical appearance. Yeah, it's just them, right? Let's look into a few things Trump has said in the past. I'm just going to hit you with the more egregious ones. Kristi has no problem with her dear leader saying these things. Obviously, when you're a star, you can grab him in the pussy. You know all about that. On Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting, both inside and out. If you take a look at her, she's a slob. How does she even get on television? If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie. I'd look her right in her fat, ugly face of hers and say, Rosie, you're fired. On treating women, you have to treat them like bleep. That was quoted in the New York Magazine. On Mika Brzezinski, Morning Joe, referred to Mika Brzezinski as low IQ crazy Mika and claimed she had visited Mar-a-Lago a while ago bleeding badly from her new facelift. On Carly Fiorina, look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that? The face of our next president, he said to Rolling Stone. On Megyn Kelly, you can see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever, said to CNN. On Alicia Machado, calling the former Miss Universe winner Miss Piggy. Don't make me laugh. This is reprehensible. On Kim Kardashian, she's gotten a little bit large. I don't think you should dress like you weigh 120 pounds. Does she have a good body? No. Does she have a fat ass? Absolutely. The list goes on. These were just the greatest hits. You got no problem with any of that, huh, Christy? Just the liberals and the Democrats demeaning women out here, huh? The other significant part about this is that David Ellison, son of Larry Ellison, is allowing it to happen on his network. And when you dig into David Ellison a little bit, it may seem a little conflicting, but not to me. Not to me. You see, he donated close to $1 million in total to Biden's campaign in 2020. Was it 20? No, 2020. Yeah, to Biden's campaign. I don't know. It's around here somewhere. The exact. Oh no, you know what? It wasn't 2024. It was the Biden Victory Fund. It's about Democratic reelection campaigns and money that goes to the Democratic National Committee. Okay, so it was the Biden Victory Fund, not directly to the campaign, but it was close to $1 million. David Ellison donated. Okay, and that is in stark contrast to the massive amounts of money his father, Larry Ellison, has given to Trump. He is a mega donor. He has hit the mega donor status, Larry Ellison has. But they work in tandem. Larry was a big part of the Skydance merger, David Ellison being the president of Paramount. Now, so you say, okay, he's a Democrat. Well, not so fast. I would lean that way, but recently, as we approach this big merger, if he is a Democrat, or if he at least has Democratic or left leanings, he is not above dealing with, schmoozing with, socializing with Trump allies like Ted Cruz, Elon Musk, who was an ally at the time. We're talking about April, May, June. David started being seen with Trump at UFC fights, galas, gatherings, talking to Trump allies for months. I don't see it really as a right lean in any way. I personally see it as a businessman who puts his money where his politics are, but has no problem doing business. I see this as, and yes, he may have, I don't know the legality, I'll leave that to other people. How legal was his schmoozing? Did he, were there any backdoor deals? We know the $16 million lawsuit was settled, right? That was settled right before the Skydance merger, right? Paramount gives $16 million in the lawsuit to Trump over the doctored Kamala Harris interview and fired Stephen Colbert. This all happened at the same time. Trump gets his cash, they get their merger. And Ellison had been seen hanging out with Trump in numerous times, numerous places just before it. I'll let the lawyers, sort out the legality of it. But for me, I don't think we should be shocked that David Ellison, although he agreed to the ombudsman. He agreed to eliminate DEI policies at Paramount, Skydance now. Okay, he agreed to these things. But I think we can see his support for South Park, not just as, a financial maneuver because they are so wildly popular and make them tons of money. There may be a bit of philosophical alignment here as well. And he can lean into, look how much money it's making us. We're being diverse. We're giving everybody an opportunity, left and right, to have their opinions and their art and their comedy heard on our networks, on our airwaves. But I think we can see this for what it is on its face. I think David Ellison is at least somewhat philosophically aligned with the current direction of South Park.
It's time for a quick break. Then we break some more. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things.
Hey, Mac.
Brett Breaks Things. Fighting for America, one mic drop at a time.
When President Donald Trump appears to be ready to follow through on threats to take over D.C.
We're going to beautify the city. We're going to make it beautiful. That includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too.
All new this Thursday morning, sources telling CNN the Trump administration could increase federal law enforcement presence as soon as today.
And according to CNN, that could mean ICE agents, Homeland Security, National Guard, the FBI too. And the president claims it's because of crime here in the district and points to reports of the attempted carjacking on a former DOJ staffer. But a senior White House official saying it's much more than that. It's also part of the president's executive order to make D.C. safe and beautiful that was signed back in March and aims to ensure that all applicable quality of life, nuisance, and public safety laws are strictly enforced. Now, the president referenced the former DOJ staffer's assault during a press conference.
What a shame. The rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else, we're not going to let it. And that includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too.
By the way, before I sink my teeth into this, and I can't wait because this is super important. South Park may not be getting censored, but I got censored. You may notice I got the same shirt on. I don't know if you noticed that or not. I got censored by Scott. I'm looking right now. He's looking at me. Don't do it. I got censored by Scotty earlier today. I was wearing a different shirt. It was hilarious. If you want to see it, some of my friends saw it. If you want to see it, I might do a TikTok live this weekend or something. Maybe wearing it. He's so mad at me right now. All right. Trump's new thing is taking over DC. Trump's new thing is taking over DC. That's the new thing he's doing, and he's doing it right in time to have his new U.S. attorney for DC, Jeanine to back up his play. All right, and we've been hearing about this quite a bit over the last couple days out of them. Let's hear a little bit more for Trump.
President Trump, on federalizing D.C., are you considering taking over the D.C. police? Is that an option on the table?
We're considering it, yeah, because the crime is ridiculous. I could show you a chart comparing D.C. to other locations, and you're not going to want to see what it looks like.
Okay. This dude wants an SS so bad. He wants an SS so bad. He wants his own brown shirts so bad. And we're seeing him start to push the boundaries. You know, calling out the National Guard in California, that was a taste. How's this going to go over? That was a taste. Supreme Court backed up his play there. Now, he's picking the perfect target. He's picking the perfect target to go a little farther. He's talking about bringing the National Guard in to police the streets of D.C. And there's no guardrails for D.C. like there are for other states. Okay, see, D.C. does not have federal representation. All the decisions on policies in Washington, D.C., they eventually have to get to federal oversight, a federal approval. Now, since the Home Rule Act, and we're going to hear about the Home Rule Act, we're going to hear about that. In 73, signed by Nixon, they created an elected mayor and city council for D.C. That happened in 73. Prior to that, there was no mayor, no city council. Now they have a mayor and a city council, okay? The government, however, has the final say on budgetary concerns, agency oversight, local legislation. The local leaders can have a say in the council, and obviously they can vote for their mayor now, but major decisions in that city are handled at the federal level. There is no Gavin Newsom in Washington, D.C. to stand up for the rights of the citizens in California or stand up for the rights of the state of California, okay, like he did. There's nobody to do that in D.C. The decisions are made at the federal level, ultimately. So he's picking the perfect place to do this. And they're using an attack on a DOJ official. Big Balls, was that his name? Yeah, Big Balls. He was one of the ones directly under Elon during the whole DOJ initiative. An attack on him, okay? Two 15-year-olds, and this is reporting out of PBS, two 15-year-olds had been arrested in Washington in connection with the attempted carjacking and beating of one of the most prominent members in the Department of Government Efficiency. Edward Korestein, nicknamed Big Balls, was among the most visible figures of the Trump Doge. And The assault was around 3 a.m. last Sunday in the city's Logan Center. They did arrest 2 of the teens that were involved in the attack. So they're using this to point at, and they're using crime statistics to point at, to say, hey, something has to be done here, and I'm just the guy to do it. And now I've got just the U.S. attorney to carry out my wishes. No legal challenges there. Not anymore. Not with Jeanine on the job. He continues.
We're going to do something about it. So whether you call it federalized or what, and that also includes the graffiti that you see, the papers all over the place, the roads that are in bad shape, the medians that are falling down, the median in between roads that's falling down. We're going to beautify the city. We're going to make it beautiful. And what a shame. The rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else, we're not going to let it. And that includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too.
And do you want Congress to look at overturning the D.C. Home Rule Act?
We're going to look at that. In fact, the lawyers are already studying it.
Yeah, he wants to overturn it, even though he's, there aren't as many guardrails, there aren't as many barriers in place for him to do this here than other places. He wants no barriers. Let's overdo that the Home Act as well, the Home Rule Act. Let's overdo it. Let's overturn it. No more voting on your mayor. No more voting on your city council. The 700,000 plus residents of D.C. no say in the direction of your life in terms of policies at all. At all. What Trump says goes for all of D.C. is his vision for that city. And he wants to bring in the National Guard to be his own personal SS, and they will ensure peace by any means necessary, how Trump sees fit. How Trump sees fit. And like I said, now they've got their U.S. attorney in D.C., Jeanine Pirro, insane, bat crap, crazy ex-Fox talking head, to facilitate this, to ease it, to make it easier. And she talked about it. She talked about it, and she talked about it.
They need to understand that enough is enough, and that the D.C. Council has to repeal some of these absurd ordinances and laws that they've had passed that do nothing to protect the people of this city and of this district. We've got to have the ability to let young people know that they're going to be accountable. And if you look at some of these pictures of these kids being beaten by crews and bloodied up, and you want to tell me that, it's only a kid who did it, no. Take a look at the bloodied up face and body, and you'll know that it's more than little kids doing this kind of thing.
So the focus is on minors, minor offenders. That is their focus. They're hyper focused on it because it was, 2 15-year-olds were arrested in the beating on Big Balls. And they're using this as a springboard to attack minor offenders. Trump, he wants all minors to be charged as adults. So does Jeanine. Blowing right past all the reasons we don't do that traditionally. They don't see these young offenders as people with futures that they may be able to amend their behavior, rehabilitate them at such a young age. Nope, they want them to go to jail for years and years and years and years. No leniency, no extenuating circumstances, no nuance. If you're 16, 17, 15, 14, try him as an adult. Try him as an adult. And they are pushing to do that. It's a multi-pronged attack on you, D.C. I don't know how many viewers I may have in D.C. You probably are just as appraised to this situation as I am right now, if not more. But I got him trashing D.C. I just went there. I didn't stay in D.C. I stayed just outside near the University of Maryland. And I traveled twice, 2 days in a row. I drove into D.C. 2 days in a row, down into D.C. and back. I didn't see the D.C. he just described. Granted, I didn't go touring through every suburb and smaller satellite neighborhood around D.C., but I saw some of them. I traveled through some of them. I didn't see the D.C. he's talking about. Now, I'm sure rougher areas exist. Obviously, they do. But they do in every single city. And although D.C.'s crime rate On some things is low or national average. On some things, it is high. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. But I didn't see the DC he's talking about, especially not in the city. It was gorgeous in the city. Absolutely beautiful, clean, safe. I enjoyed my time there very much. She continues, and she says a lot of things, and she throws out some numbers. She wants to shock you into complicity.
All I want to do is clean up D.C. That's why the president put me here. And youth crime is on the rise. In the last 4 years, we've had 150,000 cases of youth violence, okay, 4 years ago. Now it's close to 500,000 cases of youth violence. We've got D.C. as one of the highest murder rates in the country. So we can talk about crime going down, but going down from where?
All right, so here's the thing. Nobody can lie like Trump. Trump will say 10 things and he'll go 10 for 10 on lies. It's his thing. It's his deal. It's his superpower. So when we went to fact check Jeanine, we could not get a Trumpian ratio of things said to lie. Nobody can achieve that. But she tried a little bit. First thing she said, all I want to do is clean up DC, and that's why the president put me here. Youth crime is on the rise in the last 4 years. Well, that is why the president put her there. Here's the thing. She's cherry picking. She's cherry picking because although violent crimes by youth has had a small uptick, other crimes have gone down. Carjackings, petty theft, all sorts of other crimes related to the youth of DC have gone down. She's cherry picking. Yes, the violent crime rate did go up a little bit. But she didn't lie on that. She didn't lie outright. Where was the outright lie? 500,000 cases of violent youth offenders in the last year? What? From all accounts, and these numbers are tougher to compile when they're more recent. When you get a snapshot of the last couple years before, it's more accurate. When it's in real time, when you're talking about this year, it's tougher to really nail down the numbers. But the best we could do, 12,000 cases of violent offenders this year. So if you extrapolate that number over the last handful of years, you will not get anywhere close to 500,000. And she's saying that's recent. 500,000 cases recently. That was a bald-faced lie. Just a flat-out lie. DC has one of the highest murder rates in the country. That's true. That's true. She didn't lie about that. It does rank in the top 5 in murder rates in the country. In 2023, it recorded 274 homicides alone. It has decreased slightly since then, but it has remained securely in the top 5. Okay. And then she said, if you commit a crime of anti-Semitism or hate, I'm coming for you. Well, that actually is under her purview. As U.S. Attorney of D.C., she would be the one to prosecute hate crimes, anti-Semitism crimes. She's not lying about that. That is actually her job to do that. So nobody can lie at a Trumpian rate. But she'll get out there and try. She'll get better. Trust her. Give her some time. Give her some time. He is trying to create an SS situation in DC, but it's not going to stop here. If this is to succeed, he will try it elsewhere. It also plays in his favor that DC is a blue state, a blue district. I'm sorry. So when you long game it, what might be the next target because of crime rates? Is it Chicago? We've already got National Guard in California, right? What's next? Detroit? I could start naming major metropolitan areas in blue states that he would call sanctuary cities that have crime rates comparable to other majority red metropolitan areas, but they're not going to come under attack. The blue ones will.
Breaking politics, breaking narratives, breaking news. But first, we need a coffee break. You're back with Brett Breaks Things, because democracy doesn't defend itself.
Okay. So we saw McIntyre, the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, get fired, right? She greenlit some data out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics that Trump didn't like. She didn't compile the data, wasn't her data, wasn't her handiwork. Her role as commissioner was to rubber stamp it and send it along to the public and to the president, to the media, to the secretary. And Trump didn't like it, so he fired her. And we heard people defending her position. We heard former Bureau of Labor Statistics commissioners talk about her role and how even if you wanted to fire somebody, she wouldn't even be the person to fire. Complete, figurehead, and just a firing, just a statement firing. A pretty unjust one. But now it's time to justify it, right? It was an unjust firing, but we're going to go about justifying it. We got to spin this now. It kind of looked bad, right? It looked bad. And with growing concerns over what can we believe and what can't we believe, if our president's coming out here and saying Bureau of Labor Statistics figures that he touted prior, whenever it worked for him or his allies, he touted their figures. Now, when he doesn't like the numbers, he fires people. But he doesn't just fire people. Now he starts making stuff up. He's got to make up his own numbers, right? We can't just fire her. We have to give you the real dirt, right? We got to give you the real numbers that this weaponized commissioner tried to bury, tried to rig, right? If she rigged the numbers, then there has to be true statistics out there. And who did they go to find those true statistics? One, Stephen Moore. Stephen Moore, the main architect of Project 2025. Here we go again. You believe those lies you've been told, Republicans? Do you believe the lie about Project 2025 and Trump doesn't know anything about it as position after position after position gets filled with the architects of this? At what point do you get tired of being lied to on his campaign trails or at his press conferences or his walk-ups or before he gets on Air Force One or the helicopter takes him to Air Force One? At one point do you get personally insulted that he just thinks you're this stupid, that he can just lie to you over and over and over again? That is your relationship with this man. He gives you the culture war and the lies, and you give him your money and your vote. He thinks you're stupid. He thinks you're patsies. He lies to you nonstop. Right now, we're talking about the I don't know anything about Project 2025 lie on his campaign trail. We're not going to talk about the no tax on tip and I'll build a wall in Mexico will pay for it. The millions of lies he's told to you. This one, though, as he fills yet another position, and we see him standing in the White House with another Heritage Foundation mainstay. This time, Stephen Moore. Last time I showed you it was the head of the FCC, right? Brennan, I think his name, Brendan Carr. It was Brendan Carr, the new head of the FCC, who wrote the chapter on the FCC in Project 2025. You wanted to see it in action. Here it is. And now here's the main architect. He's going to get out here and he's going to save the optics for the president. He's got those magic numbers. And he's going to bring them to you in the Oval Office with the president. Here we go.
So I called the president because I had some very good news from some new data that we've been able to put together that no one has ever seen before, and I'll just very quickly go through these. So I was telling the president that he did the right thing in calling for a new head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, because this shows that over the last 2 years of the Biden administration, the BLS overestimated job creation by 1.5 million jobs. Mr. President, that's a gigantic error. And I don't know if she's, I'm not
making... It might not have been an error, that's the bad part. If it was an error, it would be one thing. I don't think it's an error. I think they did it purposely.
Whether that, you may well be right, but even if it wasn't purposefully, it's incompetence.
Yeah, right. Yeah. As soon as Trump starts talking, the look of, we didn't discuss you saying anything here, you're making this murky for me. That may be. She did it on purpose. And don't you tell me different, Stephen Moore. Well, you may be right, Mr. President. These are numbers nobody's seen before. That's because you just made them up and put them on a big piece of cardboard, Stephen Moore. And the more made up they are, the more Trump will co-sign it. The more he will double down on your made up numbers. You were right to fire the BLS commissioner, sir. Look at these numbers that we just handed you. Look at these. And by the way, New York Times and other outlets have done digging. Nobody knows where these numbers came from. These are special numbers, the best numbers anybody's ever seen. Numbers nobody's seen before because they don't exist. This stuff is crazy. It's crazy. He just shows up with the Heritage Foundation and says, we got new numbers for you. You haven't seen them. Special numbers. Yeah, it continues here. This little demonstration of the special numbers you haven't seen before continues.
This one chart really says it better than anything.
Oh, yeah?
If you look
What
at
is
this.
that chart?
This is great.
Are you going to explain
But
it, Don?
This chart is pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah? What's
Right
that chart? Okay, I see a line there. Okay, so explain the chart.
All new numbers.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay? You didn't say anything. Usually when people bring up charts with graphs and numbers, they say, this is what this means. Look at this. Let me explain to you what you're seeing. He's just like, okay? And that okay means, okay, please don't ask me any tough questions about this chart, okay? Okay? I can't answer anything about this because I don't know what the hell I'm holding up. Stephen Moore just handed this to me, and this one looked pretty, so I'm holding it up to you, okay? Okay? No, it's not okay, Don. It's not okay. It continues.
Then we looked at which families did the best. And we have data from the Census Bureau that shows by income percentage. So the 25th percentile is the lowest income, 75th percentile is the highest income. And what I find fascinating about this, Mr. President, is every income group did better. The red is President Trump, the blue is President Biden. Every single income group did better under President Trump. But what's really amazing is look what happened under Biden. The lowest income group lost income under Biden. They were poor 4 years after Biden's presidency. No gain virtually whatsoever for the middle class. And the rich was the only group that did better under Biden.
You're just
which is
saying
ironic
things.
Because Biden keeps saying he was trying to get rid of income inequality. He made income inequality worse, not better. It was President Trump that reduced income inequality.
These numbers just came out, by the way.
Oh, by the way.
And then finally, these are the numbers just I just showed you in percentage terms. Mr. President, these are the numbers in dollar terms. So even the lowest income, 25th percent, gained about $4,000 in income. That's a lot for a lower income family. $6,400 for the middle class and almost $10,000 for the richest. So you can see every income group did better under Trump than Biden.
So here's my take on this, right? He's got these big, gaudy cardboard graphs. And even there, Stephen Moore is not telling you what any of those numbers mean, what any of the bars mean, what the, on this side it's this, on this it's this, so you can understand what you're looking at. No. He's just saying, hey, look, Biden was bad and Trump was good. Hey, let's look at this next color. Look at this. This is pretty. Biden was bad here and Trump is good. I feel like Trump kind of directed how this was going to go. I feel like this is how Trump learns, by not really learning anything, with big, colorful graphs and somebody who's smarter than him saying, this means this, Don, and that means that. And so in Don's mind, he's like, well, I mean, I'm more intelligent than the American public, so I got to dumb it down for them. So we're not even going to tell them what these numbers mean. We'll just show them the pretty little pictures. We'll get these gigantic cardboard graphs and we'll show them things and we'll tell them what it means and we'll justify firing McIntyre.
I mean, Brett, this checks out from everything that we definitely heard from the first, his first term about, these experts coming into there with all their notes and and then being like, he's going to check out. He's going to check out every time. You got to make it big and bold and basic for him and just show him the good stuff, not the bad stuff, because he'll lose interest and
that's exactly
he'll be gone.
That's exactly right, Scott. That's exactly right. That's exactly how I picture it going when somebody tries to explain to him anything economic, policy-wise, on a global level, maybe our conflicts, anything. You can't just be like, here's the data, pour into that, Don. He'll check out, right? And since he's smarter than all of you, you're certainly going to check out. So we got to make this as digestible as possible. Big, pretty pictures on gigantic pieces of cardboard that have numbers that you don't get, so I'm going to have Stephen Moore stand here and explain them to you. Meanwhile, they explained nothing, did not offer any evidence as to where they got these numbers, and even said, these are spectacular. Nobody's ever seen them. So, he talked about the census in that, right? He mentioned census data. And the census is under attack, and our districts are under attack. Our seats in the House are under attack. This is all part of one big plan.
We'll be back to break it all down. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things. You're back with Brett Breaks Things, where the truth hits harder than the headlines.
President Trump is now directing the Commerce Department to create a census without undocumented immigrants. Census data is used to create district maps and allocate federal funding for everything from schools to infrastructure. The nation has historically counted every person in the U.S. for the census, and the change could make a massive impact on Southern California. President Trump tried to add a U.S. citizenship question to the census during his first term, but was rebuffed by the Supreme Court. This comes as several Republican governors push to redraw congressional maps ahead of the 2026 midterm elections.
Yep. He's back on that again. He tried this the first time in his last administration. And now he's back on it. Okay, he's demanding the census exclude undocumented immigrants amid redistricting. All right, so this is two sides of the same coin, attacking seats, Democratic seats in Congress. That's what this is all aimed to do. And I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that if his policies were effective and popular, this wouldn't be an issue. They wouldn't be out here in Texas trying to save 5 seats. Or they wouldn't be out here trying to attack seats in California and other places, Florida. We'll get to it. They wouldn't be doing all these things. They wouldn't be doing all these dirty tricks if their policies were popular. If their policies hurt or helped the majority of Americans, they could rest on their laurels and glide effortlessly into the midterms, knowing that they had done right by the American people, but it is the exact opposite. And don't think for a minute that these Republicans do not understand the effect the one big beautiful bill will have on people at the end of this year and going into next year and late next year. Okay, as we approach the midterms, a lot of the things in the big beautiful bill will take effect. Some of the more damning stuff doesn't take effect till just after the midterms next year. They knew better on some of this stuff, but they couldn't do it on all of it. And a lot of it will take effect before the midterms, and they know they have to mitigate the damage right now. That's what this all is all about. Do not be fooled. Don't be fooled by DOJ letters of unconstitutional voting districts. Don't be fooled about trying to project what they're doing onto the Democrats. They gerrymandered, so we're going to do it now. Don't be fooled by any of the spin or the rhetoric or the bullcrap. They know how unpopular they are and their policies are, and this president is, and they have to mitigate the damage right now. And one way they see to do it is by trying to exclude undocumented immigrants from our census, which is it flies in the face of Article 1 of our Constitution, and he has tried it in the past, and it harkens back to an era in our country when people were 3/5. or not a person at all. You remember that? No, you don't, because it was so damn long ago, because it was so disgusting and racist that nobody would have tried anything like this until Trump. But it happened. Maybe that's the America they want to go back to. That's the again in the Make America Great Again. Back then. So he is pursuing this. People who are in our country illegally will not be counted in the census, Trump wrote in a post on social media. So the next census is scheduled for 2030. They're getting the ball rolling right now. They're getting it rolling right now. The last time he tried this, the Supreme Court intervened. Do you think they'll intervene this time? Yeah, I have my doubts too. Now, something this distasteful, something this racist, something this anti-American can only be brought to you best by the most distasteful among us. I give you one Stephen Miller.
Illinois, Chicago, New York, Massachusetts. Democrats have gerrymandered the vote beyond recognition to try to maintain their advantage in the House elections. On top of that, let's not forget, Democrats rigged the 2020 census by including illegal aliens. Remember, they sued Donald Trump. They sued the administration. They fought tooth and nail to include illegal aliens in the census. 20 to 30 of House Democrat seats wouldn't exist but for illegal aliens. Texas is taking just a small corrective step against this ocean of fraud, this ocean of abuse by the corrupt Democrat Party, Sean.
Okay, Stephen, let's get this straight. Let's just get on the same page here. You want them all gone. Who are we talking about? Are they talking about people on work visas? That's documented. Will they be counted? What about asylum seekers? What about people who are waiting to hear their judgment on their asylum claim? Came through a port of entry, got their court date, or waiting to hear from a judge, waiting to get their day in court. Are they counted? Do you count them? How about those who are currently in the process of becoming U.S. citizens, which takes years, tests. They have to meet criteria over a long period of time. It's a difficult process, but one that is explored and utilized by millions of immigrants. Will all the people in that process not be counted? Will there be a cutoff point? Like if you're this far in the process of becoming a U.S. citizen, then we'll count you? Where does it begin and end? Who's getting counted and who's not? This seems a little murky to me. So you don't mind immigrants paying 68, 70, whatever it was, $1 billion into our taxes. You don't mind that. That's good. And you don't mind your farms and your hotel industry and other industries utilizing immigrants to support their businesses. All right, you don't mind taking their money. You don't mind having them be an immensely important cog in Americana, in our society, what it is to be American. That's all good. But now they can't have representation. You're not really an American. You can work with Americans, pay taxes like Americans, but you're not an American. That's what they're saying. And it's basically a national redistricting. That's what it is. They're taking this redistricting fight to the next level. Because yes, if there are less people in California, they will get less representation. They will get less federal dollars. But they're not the only state that has a large immigrant population. There's another state by the Mexican border that has a large immigrant population. Texas. Texas, you have 38 seats. Can you afford to lose some? California can afford to lose a few of its 52. How much can you afford to lose? Texas? New Mexico? How much can you afford to lose? Louisiana. He thinks he's attacking California, but he's being a little short-sighted. And we're going to hear from some more despicable people on this.
And they're talking about adding stars to the flag and adding Puerto Rico. Well, guess what? Two can play at this game. President Donald Trump announcing the new census. What that would do is that would also potentially subtract 20 electoral votes from Democrats in the Electoral College system, as congressional seat appropriation is directly correlated with electoral college totals. Deeper than this, though, this is a new mentality. This is not a Republican Party that is just playing for neutrality or trying to protect broken norms. Instead, we are playing to win. We know we are up against a vicious opposition, one that might play a good game on television every so often or saying that they're working for the American people, but deep down, we know what they are. We know what they represent, and President Donald Trump and this movement, and you see it across the country with the resolute attitude in Texas, is that we are now going to fight fire with fire, we're going to play offense, and we're finally going to be back in the director and the driver's seat to save this country.
I mean, there's Cartman with a master class in projection. Watch the new South Park. No, it's Charlie Kirk with the ultimate projection. No, we're fighting fire with fire. You're not fighting fire with fire. We are. It's your fire that's being fought with fire, not our fire that's being fought with fire. How dare you? Yeah. So with what's going on in Texas, he has the gumption to get on Fox and say, no, it's the Dems doing this, and we're going to fight fire with fire. Well, the truth is both sides gerrymander. That is the truth. But what he's doing there, he's also showing you how to build a straw man. You want to come out here and you want to add stars to the flag? You're trying to get Puerto Rico in as a state? Who's talking about that? You're talking about that. Nobody else is talking about that. And yet another straw man being built up on Fox so Charlie Kirk can light it on fire. Rah, rage. My anger is raging at these Democrats who want to add Puerto Rico as a state. Nobody's talking about that. Yeah, it'd be nice. That'd be nice. But nobody's talking about that. That's a straw man. You created that issue, Charlie. Just now, off the top of your head. And Jesse Waters. Now, he's not going to be outdone on his own show. He'll ramp it up, baby.
Trump's tired of getting bullied. Trump's not going to let this slide anymore. If he needs to gerrymander, he's going to gerrymander. And if they want to add stars to the flag, okay, we'll just take Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. And it doesn't have to be aggressively. We can take it peacefully. It will be a mostly peaceful invasion. And those are 3 states. That means 6 Republican senators. See what we did there?
Don't forget Greenland. Exactly.
Don't forget Greenland. Greenland.
I'm on board now. 16 I'm totally. I am
I'm on board.
now.
I'm totally on board. Jesse, I'm totally on board. Don't forget Greenland. Canada, how do you feel about that? I know I got a ton of Canadian listeners. How do you feel about that, Canada? He's just going to take Manitoba. He's just going to take Saskatchewan and just make them states. They're going to be red states, and we're just going to get all these seats. We'll just take portions of Canada. We don't have to do it forcefully. Well, not very forcefully.
I bet Putin would love to find out America's just seizing territories.
Oh, bro.
He would just.
You want to talk about fitting the narrative, aligning philosophies. Holy crap. We'll just take it. And then we'll talk about it at a summit somewhere. Well done, Jesse. Way to take it to another level. We're going to finish it with one more clip.
One cannot unilaterally disarm. The Republicans are counting on that as part of their scheme, trying to steal the midterm elections and gerrymander these congressional maps with impunity across the country. We're not going to stand for it. And the American people don't expect us to stand for it.
That's right, Hakeem. I don't expect you to stand for it. I'm glad you amended your rhetoric. Prior, you had said the American people won't stand for this. And I said, Hakeem, we don't have any power to do anything about it. Not till we get a chance to vote. You need to not stand for it. Your Democratic allies need to not stand for it. And he's saying we cannot unilaterally disarm. What he's saying there is no more taking options off the table because we're better than. We cannot disarm ourselves of options in the face of the Republican dirty tricks and the redistricting, now attacking the census. We can't disarm ourselves. We can't take tools out of our own toolbox. Not anymore. Not anymore, and I agree with you, Hakeem. All right. This is a little emotional, It's going to be our last broadcast from this particular studio. I have been in the studio for 8+ years with Randy. And there was a lot of emotion, a lot of emotional times. And, I came here with Scotty years ago, was brought in just as a board op, and I was given an opportunity to handle more and more responsibility on a show that I absolutely loved, with a host that I loved and respected and learned a whole lot from. And so did you. So we are moving. This is a financial move. And again, this could not have happened without you. Okay? This could not have happened without you. This is a good thing. We are moving into a new space, which will give this show prolonged life for the foreseeable future. No more sword of Damocles, and we absolutely could not have continued to do this without you. We couldn't have hit 50 shows without you. We couldn't have got this off the ground without you, and we can't keep this going without you. And the support you have already given me will ensure that we are continuing to bring you this brand. Whatever value you feel we're bringing to the table, we're going to continue to bring it. To my mods, you made this possible. To my donators, you made this possible. My friends, my family, my wife, Scotty's wife, you guys made this possible. And we hit 50 shows a little bit ago, and I'll bring this up after our next 50. We absolutely could not have done this move that we're about to do without you. So you'll see a little bit of a different background. New studio, new background, same show. Same show. So we will be off Monday. That should be it. Just a one Monday show. If it looks like it might be longer than that, which it shouldn't be, we'll figure it out. We'll bring you this product. We promise. That's my promise from me and Scotty to you. We will honor your support for this show. It will continue stronger than ever. And I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. So new studio, new background, a little bit of a new look, same show. We will be seeing you Tuesday after the move is complete. We've got the right man for the job, Roy. We got the right man for the job. So we'll see you in a few days.
They'll try to repair the narrative, but Brett breaks. Things will be back Monday.
Tuesday.